Hey there people, how you doing? So, as I had promised, this is a video comparison between the S20 and the S10 cameras. But before we get started, I just want to put this little disclaimer out there that the S20 model that I'm using is actually the Exynos version, and as much as I've heard and seen around in the internet, the S20 version lags behind the Snapdragon version in quite a few ways, including image processing. So, well, that disaster that we saw for the photo comparison between the S20 and S10, I think it's got a lot more to do with both the software and the chipset, and I may have been a little wrong blaming just the software. So, with that out of the way, let's get started with the first clip. And here, first and foremost, you can see that the S20 absolutely nails the colors and the white balance. Hell, even the dynamic range is better than the S20, and as you can see, even for the second one, the colors are spot on and the shadow detail is just so much better. Now this is a really nasty dynamic range test, and I just pointed the camera straight out at the sun and you can see for yourself. The S20 does edge out in terms of overall highlight control and shadow detail. Here, I also tried out the super steady feature. And even though there were a lot of nasty jerks and bumps, most of it was intentional, it's pretty clear that the S20 is leagues ahead in terms of both stabilization and detail. Even the dynamic range is so much better. And then I did the weird thing again. And I just thought to myself there, since I'm already outside, why don't I just take a selfie video with my mask on? Yeah. So it's insanely bright right now, and yeah, sorry, I can't take off my mask, as you know. Quarantine works. And well, super hot and windy. Hot wind. Man, that's not too bad actually, but yeah. Well, let me know how it looks. Because I can't see anything. The sun is directly above me, and well, the screen is almost black, but that happened. Well, ignoring the ridiculousness of the video, my first thoughts are that even with the mask on, the mic definitely sounds louder, but also slightly more tinny on the S10, while it's kind of muffled on the S20. Could be user error, maybe I was covering the microphone on the S20, but honestly I held the phones how a normal person would, so I don't know if it's got something to do with the mic placement on the S20 or something. But one thing to note though, the video quality was definitely better on the S20. Okay, so this is an indoors test, this time with masks off and, well, ample lighting, I want to say. And, well, I cranked up the AC behind me, as you can see, and, well, it's making a lot of noise. It blows my mind how much noise that thing can make. But yeah, this should give a good old test of how good the audio sounds, along with how much of that noise is actually heard. It looks good to me, a little brighter on the S20 maybe, but I have to check it out in post. And yeah, and even here the S20 does sound muffled as compared to the S10, but it could also be the noise reduction trying to reduce the noise of the AC. That thing was just blowing like crazy. And now we have a little autofocus test. Both of them, thankfully, have dual pixel autofocus. And I do notice that there's a lot more noise on the S10's video, even though the scene was very well lit. Then there's 4K 60 and you can use it for slow-mo if you want. And now for a harder autofocus test, because this time it's backlit. And it's flawless on both, but the S10's video looks pretty bad, especially in the highlights. Now moving on to some ultra-wide video indoors, and oh my god, that is just horrible. The hell happened? Why is it so bad? Sheesh. Okay, moving on to the next one, 1x zoom this time, and it's still brim filled with noise. The exposure is weird as well. And then for 2x, oh dear god. Well, that happened. It's useless. The footage is useless, basically. That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's bad. Okay, then moving on to the S20, I'm really hoping that will be better. And yes, it is so much better here. Mind you, there is noise, but it looks overall much better. There's much better sharpness, none of that weird cloudy noise reduction artifacts going on. And then for 1x, yes, we get this sleek animation of zooming in on the S20, and I personally like it. And then for 3x zoom, yeah, that's bad. Noisy, yeah, it's expected. Okay, next for low light, I'll be honest, it's horrible on both, but just comparatively, I think that the S20 has maybe slightly less noise, and well, the colors definitely look better, much more realistic on the S20. While the S10 has this really weird looking green tint for some reason, I don't know. And then welcome to the dark side. It's literally hopeless. And now for some slow-mo. We have 1080p at 240Hz for both, but honestly, as you will be seeing here, the S20 has much better dynamic range and detail overall, especially in those highlights. You'll see that it's completely clipped in most of the places in the S10, where the S20 is preserving a lot more detail. Mind you though, you do need a crap ton of light for this slow-mo to look good. And then we have single take mode, where the phone takes a bunch of photos and videos. You just have to move it around, you don't have to do anything, the phone will do it automatically. Now these are a few videos I got, and yeah, there's that stuff. I think you can change the music as well. But yeah, then we have a black and white photo here for some reason. And yes, there's a colored version. Then for this one, I particularly like this because just how good the blues look here. And this is full fat 8K that we're recording at on the S20. Yeah, it's exclusive to it. And basically, I think the only phone that can do it right now. But it's got some inherent drawbacks and shortcomings that, well, it's 8K. What were we expecting? There will be shortcomings and problems. The major areas where I think it's really suffering is overall dynamic range. There's this nasty sensor crop, and also you're only limited to 24 FPS recording, and there's not even the standard 30. Well, it might affect some, it might not affect others. One thing to keep in mind though, that 8K requires a crap ton of light to work properly, and these are studio lights I'm using, so it should look good. Another thing is it completely lacks stabilization. Yep, nothing of that sort is present, which kind of makes it hard to use on the move. So the only recommended and proper place to use 8K in my opinion would be on a tripod and just, yeah, just documentary type things, just sitting down, talking, looking at the camera and talking, all that stuff. But I guess that's basically all we know about 8K and how it should look. Okay, so here are my conclusions. I think that on the video side of things, definitely the S20 is much better in terms of, name it, dynamic range, quality, there's noise reduction, all of that is so much better. But if this was just the case for image quality as well, I would have blindly recommended this to anyone. I mean, it would have had such a good, capable camera system, but it doesn't. I don't know if it's the software that's causing the problem, or is it a combination of the software and the chipset. Now, Samsung also said that they might be coming out with some software updates to fix all of these issues regarding the cameras, especially in the photos, but that's not the case. So unfortunately, I cannot say that the S20 cameras are good. They're alright because the video kind of maybe evens out the photo problems, but otherwise it's not something I paid for and not something that I would have ever expected. Given that the S20 Plus costs $1,200, this is definitely not the kind of camera I would want. And by the way, the S20 and S10 also have a Pro video mode. It basically gives you access to all the manual settings, and it was exclusively used for the Lake of Tears video that I made a little while back. You can check it out, the link will be in the description. So this is the story of the S20 camera. Now I don't know if everyone experiences these issues that I experienced. It could be just the Exynos version or just my unit specifically, but yeah, this is my honest experience, and I'm really happy about the video but extremely disappointed in the images. Okay, so I guess that's it for today, and do drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, stay home, stay safe. I will be seeing you guys later. Cheers.